Ron Howard has spent almost his entire life inside the world of Hollywood. Long before he became a famous director, he was already learning how movies were made by standing in front of the camera as a child. At just 6 years old, he appeared on The Andy Griffith Show, where he learned discipline, patience, and the importance of teamwork. Unlike many directors who learn their craft only from film school or theory books, Ron Howard learned by watching real actors work under pressure. He saw how performers handled fear, fame, mistakes, and success. Over time, this gave him a rare understanding of acting from the inside. By the time he became a director, he didn't see actors as tools or chess pieces. He saw them as human beings trying to tell the truth on camera. This deep respect shaped his entire career. As Howard grew older and directed major films like Apollo 13, A Beautiful Mind, and Rush, certain actors stood out to him, not just because they were talented, but because they changed how he thought about filmmaking itself. These actors taught him lessons about honesty, preparation, trust, and courage. The first of these actors is Russell Crowe. When Howard first worked with Crowe on A Beautiful Mind, he had heard all the rumors. People said Crowe was difficult, intense, and argumentative. But what Howard discovered was very different. Crowe wasn't difficult because of ego. He was difficult because he cared deeply about truth. He prepared more than almost any actor Howard had ever seen. To play mathematician John Nash, Crowe studied mental illness, spoke with doctors, and tried to truly understand what it felt like to lose touch with reality. He didn't want to act like someone with schizophrenia, he wanted to feel like that person. On set, Crowe often challenged scenes and dialogue, but Howard realized these challenges came from instinct, not pride. Crowe already lived inside the character's mind, and when something felt wrong, he spoke up. What impressed Howard most was Crowe's bravery with vulnerability. Many actors want to look strong or heroic, but Crowe allowed himself to look confused, scared, and broken. That honesty made the performance powerful and real. From Crowe, Howard learned that so-called difficult actors, sometimes the most committed ones. They are not fighting the director, they are fighting for the truth of the story. The next actor who deeply influenced Ron Howard is Tom Hanks. Their partnership began early in Howard's directing career with the film Splash, when Hanks was still known mainly as a comedic actor. Even then, Howard could see something special. Hanks had a rare ability to make impossible stories feel normal and human. Whether he was playing a man in love with a mermaid, an astronaut trapped in space, or a professor chasing ancient secrets, Hanks made audiences believe every moment. Howard once said that Tom Hanks makes big ideas feel small and personal. One of the strongest parts of their relationship was trust. After working together on multiple films, Howard and Hanks developed a silent understanding. Howard didn't need to explain every detail, and Hanks didn't need constant direction. A small nod or a short look was enough. This kind of trust saved time and allowed both men to focus on the most important parts of the story. In Apollo 13, Hanks played a man facing death in space, yet he never overacted. Instead of dramatic speeches, he showed quiet professionalism. That restraint made the danger feel real. From Tom Hanks, Ron Howard learned that great leading actors don't steal scenes, they support them. They don't push emotions too hard, they let emotions grow naturally. Trust, Howard realized, is one of the most valuable things on a film set, and Hanks taught him how powerful that trust can be. As Ron Howard continued his directing journey, he encountered actors who challenged him in completely different ways. One of the most surprising influences was Michael Keaton. When Howard worked with Keaton on Night Shift, he quickly realized that Keaton didn't follow traditional rules. Many actors treat a script like a strict map, but Keaton treated it more like a suggestion. He explored scenes freely, improvising lines, adding physical movement, and finding humor in unexpected places. At first, this kind of chaos could be frightening for a director, especially one early in his career. But Howard soon saw that Keaton always understood the heart of the scene. Even when he changed words or actions, he never lost the emotional meaning. Keaton showed Howard that creativity often comes from freedom, not control. What impressed Howard even more was Keaton's range. Audiences saw him as a comedian, but Howard saw deep sadness and emotional truth beneath the jokes. Keaton could make people laugh and then suddenly break their hearts. This taught Howard an important lesson about casting. Sometimes the best choice is not the obvious one. Sometimes the most honest performances come from actors who are willing to surprise you. Keaton taught Howard that a director's job is not to control every moment, but to recognize when something special is happening and allow it to grow. Another actor who deeply shaped Howard's understanding of acting was Ed Harris. Harris worked with Howard on Apollo 13, playing Gene Kranz, a real-life NASA flight director. Harris approached the role with the mind of an engineer. He didn't just memorize his lines, he studied NASA systems, spoke with experts, and understood every technical detail his character would know. Harris believed that truth lives in details. If his character wore a certain vest or stood in a certain posture, Harris wanted it to be exact. What amazed Howard was Harris's reliability. Every single day, Harris arrived fully prepared. He knew his lines, understood his emotional state, and delivered strong performances take after take. There were no excuses, no shortcuts. From Harris, Howard learned that preparation creates freedom. When an actor knows everything about their character, they can stop acting and simply exist in the moment. Harris showed Howard that research is not about showing intelligence, it's about building confidence so strong that the performance becomes natural. The next actor on Howard's list is Denzel Washington, an actor Howard admired deeply even without long-term collaboration. Howard watched Washington's performances carefully over the years and noticed something rare. Denzel Washington doesn't demand attention, attention naturally moves toward him. When he enters a scene, the energy changes. Not because he is loud or aggressive, but because he is completely present. Howard observed that Washington never tries to prove himself. He doesn't waste energy showing how talented he is. Instead, he simply inhabits his characters with confidence and truth. One of Washington's greatest strengths is his balance between strength and vulnerability. He can deliver powerful intensity in one moment and gentle humanity in the next, and both feel real. His silences are just as meaningful as his dialogue. From watching Denzel Washington, Ron Howard learned that true screen presence cannot be forced. It comes from deep understanding, discipline, and respect for the craft. Some actors don't need heavy direction because they arrive already connected to the truth of the character. Washington showed Howard that when an actor fully understands who they are playing, the director's job becomes much easier. As Ron Howard's career expanded beyond Hollywood, he discovered new kinds of talent that challenged his assumptions even further. One of the most powerful surprises came from working with Daniel Bruhl on the film Rush. Bruhl played Niki Lauda, a real Formula One racing legend known for his cold honesty and sharp intelligence. Howard needed an actor who would not try to make the character likable, but truthful. Bruhl approached the role with complete dedication. He studied Lauda's life, watched interviews, learned his accent, and understood his logical way of thinking. By the time filming began, Bruhl didn't feel like an actor pretending, he felt like Niki Lauda himself. Even Lauda later said that Bruhl had captured him perfectly. What impressed Howard most was Bruhl's fearlessness. Many actors try to soften difficult characters so audiences will like them, but Bruhl did the opposite. He trusted that honesty would be more interesting than charm. From Bruhl, Howard learned that some of the best performances come from actors who are willing to disappear completely into another person, even if that person is uncomfortable or unlikable. Bruhl also showed Howard how European actors often approach acting differently, focusing more on accuracy than relatability. Another legendary influence on Howard is Anthony Hopkins. Although Howard did not direct Hopkins extensively, he studied his performances for decades. Hopkins represents the highest level of acting mastery. He understands that great acting is not about doing more, it is about doing less. Hopkins can express deep emotion with a single look or small movement. Howard once said that while many actors push emotions outward, Hopkins pulls the audience inward. This power comes from absolute preparation. Hopkins memorizes his lines repeatedly until they become natural thoughts rather than rehearsed words. When the camera starts rolling, he is not performing, he is simply thinking and reacting. This creates performances that feel spontaneous yet perfectly controlled. From Hopkins, Howard learned that precision creates freedom. When an actor knows every detail, they can relax and let the moment live naturally. Hopkins also taught Howard that great actors make directors look brilliant by making complex scenes feel simple. By the end of his long journey, Ron Howard realized that these 7 actors taught him more than technical skills. They taught him values. Russell Crowe taught him to respect instinct and vulnerability. Tom Hanks taught him trust and restraint. Michael Keaton taught him to embrace chaos and surprise. Ed Harris taught him discipline and preparation. Denzel Washington taught him presence and quiet authority. Daniel Bruhl taught him fearlessness and truth over likability. Anthony Hopkins taught him mastery through simplicity. Together, these lessons shaped Howard into the director he became. His story proves that great filmmaking is not about control, ego, or fame. It is about collaboration, honesty, and courage. These actors didn't just perform in his films, they gave him master classes in storytelling. And through their work, they continue to teach audiences what great acting truly looks like. If we listen closely, their lessons can inspire not only filmmakers, but anyone who believes in the power of dedication, truth, and human connection. When Ron Howard looks back at his long journey in Hollywood, he does not measure success only by awards or box office numbers. Instead, he measures it by the people he worked with and the lessons they left behind. These 7 actors shaped not only his films but also his mindset as a director and as a human being. Howard learned that directing is not about controlling actors or forcing performances. It is about listening, understanding, and creating a space where truth can appear naturally. Every actor on this list showed him a different path to honesty. Some taught him through intense preparation, others through quiet confidence, and some through fearless experimentation. Together, they helped Howard realize that great performances are born from trust. When actors feel safe, respected, and understood, they are willing to take risks. Those risks often lead to moments that audiences remember forever. Howard also learned that there is no single correct way to act. Russell Crowe's intensity was very different from Tom Hanks' calm restraint. Michael Keaton's chaos was the opposite of Ed Harris's discipline. Denzel Washington's natural authority contrasted with Daniel Bruhl's complete transformation. Anthony Hopkins showed that silence and stillness can sometimes say more than words. Each approach was unique, yet all were equally powerful. This taught Howard to respect individuality instead of forcing one style onto every actor. He learned to adjust his directing based on who stood in front of the camera. Over time, this flexibility became one of his greatest strengths. Howard's experience also proves that true greatness in acting comes from humility. The best actors were not focused on showing how talented they were. They were focused on serving the story. They prepared deeply, listened carefully, and trusted the process. These actors understood that the goal of acting is not attention, but connection. When audiences forget they are watching a performance and instead feel real emotion, that is when acting becomes art. Ron Howard carried these lessons into every film he made. As a director, he became known for being calm, respectful, and actor-friendly. Many performers enjoy working with him because he understands their fears and challenges. In the end, Howard's story reminds us that success is built through collaboration. No great film is made alone. It is created when talented people come together with honesty, discipline, and courage. The 7 actors Ron Howard admires did more than help him make great movies. They helped him understand people. And that understanding is what truly separates a good director from a great one.